Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about something that got raised to me the other day because it involves another life coach, and this is a very well-known life coach. It's Tony Robbins. He's been around for ages. He's one of the most successful life coaches on the planet. He does huge seminars. He gets bought into all manner of different businesses to help them sort themselves out and progress and move forward. And he was doing a seminar at one of his various events, Unleash the Power Within, in San Jose. And he was giving an example from what I understand. There's not an entire thing of footage that I've been able to find to go through. But ultimately, there was one comment he made, which is a comment that isn't hugely controversial, but has again been blown out of proportion. Knee-jerk reactions, people in the audience, kind of flipping out about it, and all that kind of thing, as well as people then carrying it on afterwards. And these were comments that he made around the hashtag MeToo movement. And he seems to be giving this as more of an example rather than anything else. Because unleashing the power within, the thing that he tends to do is try and get people to look at life happening for you, not to you, i.e. you taking ownership of things, you being in control, you being able to make decisions, choices, and plans to move yourself forward. And as a result, the idea of reliance on certain things here or there and whatever else is something that he tries to suggest you avoid. Build up your own structures, build up your own bedrock, the same way that I would suggest. And so as a result, he made this comment. If you use the Me Too movement, or hashtag Me Too movement, to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else, all you've done is basically use a drug called significance to make yourself feel good. And, this is he's talking about the use of victimhood to help gain significance. Then overall is a worse situation. We've talked about people who are professional victims on this channel before, and people who use things in the wrong way. But I want to actually dissect exactly what he said there, where he goes, if you use the Me Too movement to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else. And this isn't the only place that, he's not the only person that's been talking about this. It's something that's been in the news fairly regularly, both before and now more prominently after the hashtag MeToo thing has grown into such a large movement. And that is that there are always going to be people, literally always going to be people, who jump on a bandwagon just to misuse what there is. You're going to have the... Look at the number of male feminists that we've seen who have jumped on the bandwagon with it as a social movement, but then have ended up being convicted of various crimes that are somewhat against the ideology they've supposedly espoused time and time again. Here he's saying if you use this particular movement, if you take advantage of the fact that it is this big prominent thing that is supporting people, he's not saying everybody, he's saying if you are one of those people who is looking to grab hold of that just to hurt someone else, then all you are doing is giving yourself a shot of significance, of the benefits that victimhood gets you, to make yourself feel good, to make yourself feel better. Now, again, we've talked about this in regards to professional victims and things like this in the past, where they wrap themselves up in this blanket and they use it to get people to give them things because we want to look out for people. If we didn't, we wouldn't be a very successful species. So the fact that the people are misusing that It's what we get pissed off about in regards to politicians that go and go and say all these things, gain our trust and all the rest of it, and then get proven to be lying or taking advantage of us or using our money for things they shouldn't be using our money for. It's that inherent natural kind of almost, I believe it's serotonin based set of responses that get us annoyed at people who just don't do right by us, who take advantage of things. And to me, there's a part of me that doesn't understand how, especially in the instances where you've got people who are being proven to be using the Me Too movement in a way that isn't supported by evidence, that isn't backed up by either the law or by just common reasonable sense. And they are just trying to direct people at others. When there's a handful of angry tweets from one woman or even one man about someone else, and that's the only evidence that there is. If you believe that person without further scrutiny, then you're potentially endorsing miscarriage of justice, mob justice, and all those kind of things. In which case, it's if you take what he's actually said here, which is, if you are one of these people who is going to misuse this thing, then you're not helping yourself, because you are just giving yourself a shot of this drug that you are eventually going to wreck yourself on. Yeah, fairly straightforward, easy to understand statement there, from a direct quote pulled from and the one direct quote in apparently the entire event that people have picked up on. Now, why would he use this as an example? Well, simple. Everyone has heard about #MeToo by now. Every single person in that hall that has gone to see him knows that it's a movement with a positive goal, and yet there are people that misuse it. But with again, I would point out that there are a couple of double standards here, because this is one particular movement and it's being used in one particular way. Oh no, everybody has to be listened to, everybody has to be believed. But you take other movements from outside of it that have been organised by men's rights activists, or when they've been organised by average people involved in something like, I don't know, Gamergate, for instance, or something like that, then that's where, no, they're all terrible. It's like, no, there are bad people everywhere. There are people that suck in every single subset and hidden crack and cranny of society. And yeah, they're always going to ruin it for everybody else. No matter what job you do, no matter what hobbies you have, no matter whatever else you do or try to do with your life, you are always going to run into people that are going to misuse it, mess around with it, break things, damage you and your other interactions within those environments and stuff like that. #MeToo is no different. And he's just saying that if you're one of those terrible people that is going to twist and kind of try and take hold of the resources that these movements have to then leverage against a specific person as an attack, as a way to destroy someone you don't like, then all you're doing is harming yourself. In which case, then you've got an audience member that tags in, and she's going, well, I think you misunderstand the Me Too movement. From what he's just said, no, she's not listened to what he said entirely. She's heard #MeToo and she's gone, no, that's not right. You listen and believe. No, don't do that. Assess. If there's a person who is misusing, damaging, and otherwise trying to leverage your organisation, your resources against someone for their own gain, not because they need the support, not because of that they've had any real actual history of harm from this person or anything like that, and they're just doing it to harm someone, to label someone as something that they are going to have a hard time recovering from. Those are the people that you don't want as part of your movement. Those are the people that you should be internally scrutinising and picking to pieces. But you're not, because of the whole listen and believe kind of ideologically driven method. But then he he cuts her off. Why? It's his event. He's the speaker. Everyone else that is there has paid to work with him and deal with him and what he's doing, and he goes through it. And I've had, like the I'm not a big fan of the way that Tony Robbins presents myself. It's very American. It's very high energy. It's not as contemplative as maybe I would like. I've seen a lot of stuff with him where he is being contemplative and more relaxed and open and all the rest of it. But when he's up on stage, jumping around, very high energy, very kind of force of personality, then yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. And I can understand how his assertive kind of stage presence would put people off. I can say that right now, in which case, fine. But lots of people have been calling him a bully and this, that, and the other, and it's like, no, he's making a very specific point about a very specific subset of people. And I, again, haven't been able to review his entire comments, but it all seems to stem back to this one initial one. And even if he's then talked for these 2 minutes afterwards in regards to this woman saying that she felt he misunderstood, lots of people have been screaming mansplaining. Firstly, mansplaining isn't a damn thing. If you know about something and a man starts trying to explain it to you, well, guess what? It's exactly the same as if a woman starts trying to explain it to you and you already know something about it. Just cut them off. Be like, yeah, do you know what? I know. Those people are trying to explain it to you. They're trying to take their time to provide you with information because they care. Don't instantly think that they're terrible people because they care, because they are taking the time out of their day to try and help. Some people will try and do so because they love the sound of their own voice. And those are the people that you can cut off just flat. I've had more than enough experience of cutting people off like that when they are somewhat full of themselves. But what it comes down to is, again, like, there will be times when I'll start talking about something and I'm sure that people will just go, oh, he's explaining. Oh, he's doing this. Oh, he's doing that. But, well, maybe if you actually listen to what I had to say, you'd learn something. Or alternatively, if you already know, tell me so I don't have to waste the energy on it. I think I'm being helpful. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. Here, though, suggesting that he's mischaracterized something when in his initial point he hasn't. Very straightforward, very reasonable thing to say. There you go. But then the woman who has been essentially equated to being the founder of the hashtag MeToo movement, Tarana Burke, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She takes to Twitter and she gets very upset, and she goes, she was made aware of this video before I ever saw it because Tony Robbins' people reached out to do damage control within 24 hours. They wanted to give me context. Apparently, I don't need any. I have eyes. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, right, okay. And she talks about him being misogynistic, which is evidently not true from the things that he has done and said in the past. He won't apologise. I don't think there's anything to apologise for, but he does actually apologise, and attempts to provide some clarity on his Facebook page, I think a day or so later. And then she talks about how this is so damaging, and how and how Me Too movement is not about victimization, it's about survivors. Well, actually, you're not. If you haven't been victimized by something, or a victim of some happenstance, then you can't have been, can't become a survivor. So there is a legitimate part of the discussion around the hashtag MeToo stuff that has to do with victimization. Because if you don't actually address that, then you can't prevent more victims from occurring. Unless that's not one of the goals that's been addressed here, or unless this individual is being is somewhat slanted in the way that she's addressing the problems. Yeah, there seems to be a very large ideological element to what she's saying here. But then she goes, women are not to blame for deep-seated misogyny that you and men like your friend are mired in. And it's like, well, no, hold on. Being objective and going, there are miserable people everywhere. Those people do themselves no favours, and people should watch out for them based on fact, based on what they specifically do say and what the evidence for those things are. Then that's not misogyny. That's common sense. Which I've got my issues with the MeToo movement and the way that it's been organised, the way that it's just again turned into a mob in various ways. The way that early on, instead of going to police with a lot of the complaints, it was just throw it up on social media. In the case of certain individuals who were some of the most vocal voices, they had already, especially in regards to the Harvey Weinstein thing that kicked all of this off, there were lots of people, including Rose McGowan, one of the most vocal people, who had taken money, who had already, rather than chase this up and follow this up all the way through till justice was served, had already essentially taken money and passed basically sold off their dignity as a result, because then nothing that they said, nothing that they no evidence they could provide was admissible in court, because it was already a settled case. There's a lot of things here that I don't like about the movement and the way that it's been organised and dealt with. And so again, looking at this and seeing, misogyny, and it's like, well, no, they're asking questions, and if you are one of these people, then you're harming yourself more than anyone else. Survivors are not complicit in their own abuse. Yeah, no, that's fine. Speaking our truth is part of healing, not a ploy to gain significance. And it's like, okay, no. If you are actually someone who is a survivor and who is healing, fine. Completely agree. If you're someone that goes, some boyfriend of mine a year and a half ago really upset me with the way that we broke up. He never did anything actually bad to me, but if I go to #MeToo and slander him all the way across the internet, or libel, I suppose, would social media be slander or libel? Because it's written down. But it's a very active form of communication. That's an interesting thing. Defamation. Let's just say it's defamatory. You go and do that, which again we have seen in various different places across the world recently, including what was it, the girl in the States not too long ago who recently confessed the fact that she made up all manner of allegations against someone. I can't remember her name now. But again, yes, if you are a survivor, you're not complicit in your own abuse. That is something that someone has done to you, and that's something that's terrible. Speaking out, talking about the issue, coming to terms with it, all that kind of thing, very much part of the healing process, very much something that is necessary. However, someone taking the huge reach of your movement and using it to go and gain significance to then turn victimhood to their advantage, those people exist. So I'm sorry, there's more nuance to the things that you're saying. Women can be just as terrible as men. They can lie just as well. And so, you have people in your movement that are going to be that bad. Physical intimidation can be a form of harassment. And it's like, well, no, hold on. He's a big dude and he's on stage and he's being a forceful person, the kind of person, in fact, because he's Tony Robbins and everyone knows who he is, that everyone in that room has paid money to go and see. It should be no surprise that he is a forceful personality who is loud and kind of upstanding, and he's a big chap anyway. I think he's about the same height as me, like 6'4". So, he's a big, loud, kind of assertive and energetic American guy. There you go. And then the fifth point that she puts is this movement is about making sure survivors have resources to heal after they've said Me Too. It's about galvanizing the global community or survivors and advocates to do the work of interrupting sexual violence. It's about protecting folks' human dignity at all cost. But again, there are bad people everywhere. There are people that will take advantage. In which case, them you going, oh, here are the resources because you have just said, hashtag Me Too, after they've said that, without necessarily any probing or anything like that, you're looking to present resources for them to heal. You're looking to provide them with assets. And that's why people want to take advantage. That's why people want to lie. Yeah, it's all social media based. None of it is easy to verify. You can be anyone on social media. Talked about this time and time again. So, there's a very straightforward comment been made, a set of knee-jerk reactions that have followed, and then in the clarification that Tony Robbins has tried to put forward, he says, at a recent Unleash the Power Within event in San Jose, my comments failed to reflect the respect I have for everything Tarana Burke and the hashtag MeToo movement have achieved. I apologise for suggesting anything other than my profound admiration for the hashtag MeToo movement, which, again, he doesn't even get into that from the outset of this. Let me clearly say I agree with the goals of hashtag MeToo movement and its founding message of empowerment through empathy, which makes it a beautiful force for good. And then he goes into how for 40 years he's actually kind of been empowering everyone, and how his own personal story starts with a childhood marked with abuse, and how all of this stuff is compounding and all the rest of it. But it's like, yeah, the guy made a very straightforward statement about if you're an asshole, you're hurting yourself more. Did he do it in a way that was most applicable and that everybody knew what he was talking about? Absolutely. Because hashtag MeToo has been everywhere. Is he arguably right in suggesting through that one comment, the one thing that he does suggest that is negative towards hashtag MeToo, rather than just against the people who are using the hashtag as leverage, is that the hashtag, the movement, isn't scrutinizing people well enough, and it's not. We've seen numerous other celebrities that have come under fire as a result of 5 tweets. And it's like, just because people have been jumping on the bandwagon, people who want success, bear a grudge against someone, aren't happy, they're leveraging it against other people who are then either having to waste time defending themselves or having their lives shut down just because someone else didn't like them, and that person may very well be someone that they've never met before. But hey, I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys, because quite frankly, like, I'm looking at this now where I've seen this kind of tangentially, I've seen the various comments, I've seen the various other things pop up, but it doesn't seem to me like he's bullying. It doesn't seem to me like he's being anyone other than just Tony Robbins on stage. And more importantly, the comment that everyone is getting upset about is a non-issue. He's saying if you're an asshole, you're going to wreck yourself by doing things like this. Could he have said it in a way that maybe didn't cause people who are overly sensitive to have a knee-jerk reaction to it? Probably. But from what I understand, and from what I've seen, he has very little in the way of scripting, because he knows his stuff and he just throws it out. He has his sections and he knows what he's doing, but it's all, he doesn't walk around with cue cards. He walks around interacting with his audience. He walks around on his stage, full of energy and showing people the kind of example of where they can be with the positivity and the kind of self-focus that he presents. And so I don't know, it's, and then in regards to the 5 points that Tarana Burke puts up, like, some of those are so horribly ideologically slanted that it's no wonder the movement is so easy to take advantage of if you wanted to use it as a negative force against someone else. You know, it seems, again, like this is just a case of a high-profile male individual commenting and then being told that he's not allowed to. Yeah, when his initial comment is fine. His following comments, from the fact that they get just skipped over a lot, and it's more about him just being loud and forceful. It's like, I don't know. It's a daftness. But anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.